Daniel and Elena had always believed that their greatest blessing in life was not the house they built, not the careers they shaped, not even the adventures they had traveled together, but the little girl who had come into their world and made it complete. Sophia was the heart of their home, a bundle of laughter, wrapped in golden curls and bright eyes that always seemed to sparkle with wonder. She had a way of running across the living room and filling every corner with her voice, her giggles bouncing off the walls like music, lifting the tiredness from Daniel after a long day and melting Elena's heart. No matter what kind of day she had faced, their mornings often began with Sophia climbing into their bed, snuggling between them, and declaring with childish authority that it was time for stories. Daniel would pull her close, his strong arms wrapping around her tiny frame, while Elena smoothed her daughter's hair and pressed soft kisses to her forehead. The warmth of those simple moments was something both parents cherished, as if time itself slowed down just to let them breathe in the sweetness of family. Every evening, Elena loved watching Daniel return home. As soon as Sophia heard the sound of the door opening, she would race to greet her father, leaping into his arms with pure joy. Daniel would lift her high, spinning her in circles, their laughter mingling together while Elena stood by the doorway, smiling at the picture of love unfolding right in front of her eyes. There was no greater sight than seeing the man she adored holding their daughter with so much pride and affection. Their small house was never silent, and they loved it that way. It was filled with little footsteps running across wooden floors, with Sophia's curious questions echoing through the rooms, and with the occasional sound of Daniel and Elena's gentle laughter, as they watched their daughter discover the world in her own innocent way. They painted together on weekends, danced in the kitchen while waiting for cookies to bake, and sometimes even built makeshift tents in the living room just so Sophia could fall asleep listening to stories under a roof made of blankets. For Daniel and Elena, family was not just about responsibility. It was about creating a world where love was felt in every glance, every word, and every embrace. Sophia reminded them daily that the bond between them was more than romance. It was the foundation of a life they had chosen to share. And as they watched their little girl grow, they knew that the greatest gift they could ever give her was the sight of two parents deeply in love, working hand in hand, raising her with joy, and building a home where love would never run out.
When the world grew quiet and their daughter had drifted into the peaceful rhythm of dreams, Daniel and Elena found themselves stepping into a world that belonged only to them. The house that was often alive with laughter, playful shouts, and tiny footsteps suddenly transformed into a soft, tranquil haven, where every candle flicker and every sigh of the night seemed to encourage them to draw closer. Elena would move through the bedroom with a grace that made Daniel forget the weariness of the day, her silhouette outlined in the gentle glow of lamplight, her presence magnetic and irresistible. Daniel cherished these moments more than anything. To him, it was not just the intimacy of a husband and wife, but the renewal of a bond that had carried them through years of love, challenges, and dreams. He would pull her into his arms, holding her as if the world could slip away, and the only thing left that mattered was the warmth of her against him. The simple act of her leaning into his chest, her breath brushing against his skin, had the power to make his heart race, the way it did the very first time he had kissed her. Their conversations in these private hours were often unspoken, woven instead through the language of touch, through the way her fingers traced along his jawline, through the way his hands lingered on the small of her back, pulling her closer until there was no space left between them. Their kisses carried a story all their own, slow and lingering at first, then deeper, filled with passion that had only grown richer with time. It was in those kisses that Elena felt his devotion, the certainty that she was not only his wife, but his entire world. The room would be filled with soft laughter, with the whispers of promises that didn't need to be said aloud, because both of them already knew. There was a rhythm between them, a kind of harmony that only true love creates, where every caress felt like poetry and every embrace became a reminder of why they had chosen each other. They didn't need extravagant words or dramatic gestures. The quiet intensity of their closeness spoke louder than anything else. As the night stretched on, Daniel would brush a strand of hair away from Elena's face, looking at her with eyes that seemed to memorize every detail, as if even after years he still found her breathtaking. She, in return, would smile the smile that belonged only to him, the smile that held trust, desire, and the promise of forever. In the silence of the night, their love blossomed endlessly, weaving together romance and intimacy in a way that was tender, passionate, and unshakably real. Morning sunlight filtered softly through the curtains, casting golden rays across the bedroom where Daniel and Elena still lay wrapped in the warmth of each other's presence. The quiet of dawn was soon broken by the gentle sound of little footsteps padding across the hallway, followed by a burst of laughter that filled the air like music. Sophia ran into the room with boundless energy, her tiny arms stretching out, as she climbed onto the bed and nestled herself between her parents. For Daniel and Elena, these mornings were a treasure, the simplest yet most powerful reminder of everything they had built together. Elena reached out to smooth Sophia's messy hair, her heart swelling with love as the child giggled and curled against her. Daniel leaned in, pressing a soft kiss on his daughter's forehead, before meeting Elena's eyes over Sophia's head. That glance between them spoke volumes, carrying memories of the nights they had held each other close, the storms they had weathered, and the countless moments of joy they had shared. It was an unspoken understanding, a quiet agreement that no matter what life brought, they were each other's anchor. Their mornings often unfolded with laughter echoing through the room, with Sophia demanding playful stories and Daniel pretending to act them out just to make her giggle. Elena would watch them with a smile that came from the deepest part of her soul, because in those moments she saw the reflection of the love she and Daniel had nurtured from the very beginning. It was a love that had matured, strengthened, and blossomed into something unbreakable, a love that now lived not only in their hearts but also in the little girl who completed their world. Even in the busiest days, when responsibilities seemed endless, they never let the rhythm of their bond fade. A simple touch of Daniel's hand on Elena's waist in the kitchen, a smile exchanged while watching Sophia play, or the way they always ended the day by holding each other close, it was these small gestures that built a fortress of love around their family. Their marriage was more than passion and tenderness. It was the unwavering foundation of loyalty, trust, and devotion. Daniel often found himself silently thanking fate for Elena, for the love that continued to deepen with time, for the daughter who carried their laughter into every room, and for the sense of completeness that made every struggle worth it. Elena, in turn, felt gratitude for the man who never let her feel alone, who stood beside her in every chapter, who held her close not just in moments of romance, but also in the ordinary moments that defined their days. Together, they knew that their love was not fragile. It was strong, resilient, and eternal. It was the kind of love that gave Sophia a safe world to grow up in, a love that would remain unshaken through every season of life. Please click subscribe to our channel. We have more stories coming as soon. Miss any new stories? Thank you for listening.